Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 35 of the On Deck podcast. Today, I have with me AJ Rowe, the host of the Painting the Black podcast, and today we're going to be talking about free agents. So, AJ, are you ready for this?
Absolutely. I was born ready, man. I love doing this stuff.
So, we're going to kind of just run through some of the more minor deals to start off, and then we'll kind of work our way up to, I'd say the more important contracts, the more headlines of the offseason.
Got you beating
But
potatoes instead of the little sides.
exactly, we want the good stuff. But hey, if you want to talk about a little bit about the little deals, feel free to stop me. But
Hit him in.
some of the first one that I kind of want to talk about just a little briefly, Cedric Mullins to the Rays.
Ooh.
I kind of like that move. That's a very like Rays move because A, they could platoon him.
Hmm.
Uh, the Rays love to platoon bats.
Yeah.
I think they have I personally I like Chandler Simpson in center field. I know the
Mhm.
metrics absolutely hate him, but the guy can fly. He puts a ball
Absolutely.
in play.
I
Just
think for Mullins, sorry if I cut you off there, but I think for Mullins, the one thing is that it gives you a high floor center fielder.
exactly,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like if Simpson keeps honestly kind of sucking in center field, then maybe you put him in a corner outfield spot and you at least have a guy who can fill in center field for a pretty cheap price because center field kind of sucks.
Yeah, and that's exactly what like I had in bold was it was like a low risk, high reward kind of deal.
Hmm.
Because at the very least you can platoon him. He's got good legs still. I think he
Yep.
stole over 20 bases this season, which
Yep. Good defender.
exactly good defender, not great arm, but like in that little minor
Eh.
league field, you're not really gonna do much. But they have an outfield of already Lau, Magnum,
Yeah.
Palacios is supposed to come back. Like that's already a full outfield and
Hmm.
just throwing in Mullins in there, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think that it gives you another, when you have like enough of those high floor guys, there's a chance that at least one of them has to succeed, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So if it's not Mullins, if it's not Magnum, if it's not Loud, then maybe it's Chandler Simpson. You know what I mean? Like there's so many guys that you
please.
have those. I wanted to be Chandler
Dude,
Simpson, except for against the Blue
I
Jays.
love Chandler Sims because like he's like it's like a better Billy Hamilton in my eyes,
Yeah, he
one
can
that could
actually hit a
swing the
little bit.
bat. But the thing about him, it makes no sense to me. He's so quick and he gets the most horrible routes to the
It makes
ball. It
no
makes no
sense.
sense.
And it's infuriating because I was looking at him because I was like, when I watch him play, it's like this guy's got to be, an elite defender type
Yeah,
of thing, but he's not.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So when I was pulling up his catch probability, the one thing I noticed is there's some catches he makes that he has no business making. Like they'll have like, 15% catch probability or whatever, but then he'll have ones he misses. Like this one against Lourdes Gurriel is the first one that always comes to my mind where he made a crazy diving play. Then looking at other ones, there's ones that had like 99% catch probability that he
And
then didn't catch.
he's
You know what I
nowhere close to it either. That's the worst
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, he's like the defensive equivalent of like Joey Gallo. It's like boomer bust with him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. Moving on to some of these smaller deals. We have Yaz, 2 years, 23 mil to the Braves.
Mhm.
Also kind of like that deal.
Yeah,
Good,
high floor.
decent bat.
Yeah, he just is a perennial 2 war player.
Yeah.
Like every
He
year, he's just gonna be an
you
average
know
hitter and an
exactly
above
what he's gonna
average
give
hitter.
you every single year.
Exactly, with a little bit of power upside. I like it for the Braves. It feels like they need some sure things with all those
Yeah,
injuries.
and at least he's been, somewhat healthy. The Braves
Yeah,
have always been
yeah,
riddled with
absolutely,
injuries year in and year
absolutely,
out.
absolutely.
Lane Thomas, 1 year, five and a quarter to the Royals. It was a whatever move to me.
Exactly, but the Royals outfield really sucks. So
Yes,
at least I guess having somebody who could potentially
could
maybe be
potentially
good,
swing a bat.
you know what I mean? Like could be an actual usable player. I don't mind it, and he's fast. He's got some athleticism. Yet even though he was bad last year, still showed decent bat speed. So whatever, worth
Yeah,
a shot when that
another
bullpen.
whatever. I was surprised he even got signed to a major league deal. Christopher Morel, one
Oh my
year,
god,
two
I
mil to
just
the Marlins.
I don't want to go too long on all of these minor deals, but Morel is so funny because the Marlins are really bad and they don't spend money on anyone. It's funny that Christopher Morel is the one guy that they decided, yeah, sure, we'll spend some
Exactly.
money,
We'll
and
throw
they're
him
going to
a
play him at
major
first.
league deal.
right? And they're gonna play him at first base. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he has upside because he has bat speed, but he's bad at the actual baseball part of baseball. He just doesn't hit the ball. Like he doesn't
When
hit
he
the
hits the
ball.
ball, it's hard, but that's
Yeah.
a big what if.
Yeah, it's about if he hits the ball and if he doesn't hit it directly into the ground. So it's
Yeah.
just, and he's not good defensively.
He's not good defensively anywhere. But we have Danny Jansen, 2 years, 14 and a half to Texas. I think that's a good pickup. They needed a catcher after getting rid of Heim.
Absolutely.
Now you have Higgy uh,
Yep.
as a for sure backup now.
Yep.
A move that I didn't see coming, Ha-Sung Kim back to Atlanta for 1 year, 20 mil, which kind of seems a little steep, but
It does.
it's good to see that they're giving money to a shortstop that can actually hit the ball and give them something offensively.
Yeah, up the middle is so weak. Like when you just look around, like in baseball, center field, shortstop, catcher, all those positions are so weak. So I think getting a guy who at least has the high floor because he is a good defender, even with the shoulder issue, and also has that ceiling because I mean we've seen him be what I think in his prime he put up like what five
Yeah, I
WAR or
was gonna
something
say it was
like
a
that.
5 WAR with the Padres. Like
Yeah,
it seems like forever ago, but it was what 2 seasons ago that he was
exactly. You
putting
know what
up
I mean?
numbers.
Right in 2023, he hit 260 with a 350 OBP, 398 slugging. That's a 750 OPS for a good defensive shortstop. That's a valuable player, like a very valuable player.
Yeah, and he's
So,
gonna be their starting shortstop, but like we've seen
yeah,
him play a high level second base, high level
yeah,
third base.
yeah.
The
If they
versatility's there.
they really seem to love this whole platoon option at short, like Mauricio Dubon and Nacho Alvarez. And
Yes.
so, if at least now they have somebody who has a bit of a higher floor and ceiling. And if should he get injured or should you move him to second because Albies continues to be pretty horrible, you have at least you have a fallback plan, which I
Yeah,
think is important.
exactly.
And 20 million is a lot, I'll be honest, but it's a 1 year deal. What's the worst that can happen? He sucks and you just go try
You
again next
dump
year.
him somewhere.
Exactly, right? You go on it next year.
Another one, Ahmed Rosario back to the Yankees. I like it. Good bench bat, good vibes guy.
Hey man, you know what? He's actually solid. You know what the thing is? I wouldn't hate that deal if the Yankees weren't operating like a small market team right now. You know what I mean? Like if it was that and Kyle Tucker or that and Tatsuya Umai, which those are still possible, then I probably wouldn't be laughing at it. But it's just funny when you see all the other teams making big
Yeah, and
additions and
that's our first big move.
right, they got him, what Ryan Yarbrough and something like that. So
Yes.
yeah,
It's
that's
small market team moves for
yeah.
the Yankees.
Mhm.
I
Exactly.
I don't like it. A
But
move that
he can
kind
hit
of
lefties.
yeah, he is good
Yep.
against lefties. That's
Yep.
I'll give him that.
Yep.
A move that kind of surprised me, Adolis Garcia, 1 year, 10 mil to the Phillies.
Yeah, I talked about it in my podcast that's coming out tomorrow, or when you're seeing this the same time, I guess.
Yeah,
But it's a weird play. I think that the problem for the Phillies it had to be a right-handed hitter because they already have Marsh in one corner and Justin Crawford's probably going to be playing
and
center
playing
field,
center field.
right? So they had to take a chance on a right-handed bat, but Adolis is just not very good. Like
No,
he's just not very good. He splits the ball hard,
I
but
took a little quick dive into him. He was at best average against fastballs,
yeah.
breaking balls and off speed. It was like
It's
good
just
luck.
and he doesn't have the same bat speed he used to have. He still has power, but it's not the elite raw power that he had in his prime, and it can't make up for how little he makes contact, to be honest. It's just bad
No.
and he chases it, and he chases so many
Yeah,
breaking
the
balls.
strikeout rate was kind of alarming. It's been like
Yeah.
slowly inching up every year.
Yeah.
And like
And he
he doesn't walk either at all.
exactly, right? So like his profile is essentially will he hit 30 home runs for you? And if the answer is no, then he's probably not going to be that valuable, but I guess he has the floor of that he's a decent defensive outfielder. The
Yeah,
Phillies kind of had to
he
take a
still has the
chance.
arm.
Yeah, they said they're done with the outfield, but I think they got to go get at
They
least
have
in one more. They got to get one guy who's actually like a legit full-time MLB outfielder because right now they're looking at a platoon left fielder in Marsh because he can't hit lefties, Justin Crawford who's a rookie, and
rookie.
Adolis Garcia. It's not very good.
Yes. That's not
For the
good
Phillies too,
at
right?
all.
If we're
Yeah, and
talking
like
KC Royals, I'd be like, okay, but it's the Phillies.
it's the Phillies. You expect them to be competitive every
Yeah,
single year.
yeah,
And
and they
yeah,
have money.
exactly. This was a shocking surprise to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another shocking surprise, Jorge Polanco to the Mets, 2 years, 40 mil.
You start because I have so many different things to say and I really don't want to just hijack this. So,
The first thing that I thought was this is who you get after Pete leaves is a
yeah.
I saw like the first thing is first of all, Jorge Polanco played second base and DH last year. That I was like, okay, cool. Pete leaves, you go sign a second baseman. I was like,
Yeah.
so where is he gonna play? Because Simeon's playing second, and then I see Jeff Passan tweet out that he's gonna be playing first base.
Yeah.
And he's played almost a little over 1,000 career games, has one game at first base. And this is like we talked about the Phillies. This is the New York Mets.
Yeah.
They're going to be competing at the top of the AL East, and you're
Yeah.
going to have a first year. How many? I don't even know how many years Polanco is into his career, but
It's
you're going to
what?
have a guy
Isn't he like
learn a whole
12
new
seasons in at
position.
this point? Because I think he debuted at like 20 or 21,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he's been in the league for a while, but playing first base.
Yeah.
And like we've seen Bryce Harper, one of the best players
Mhm.
in this generation, struggle at learning first base, and he's a uber athletic guy.
Yeah, it's like I feel bad for hating because Polanco is a good player,
He
right?
is very good. He
He is,
had quite a good stretch after being horrible for the
yeah,
Mariners the year before.
right. It seems like he's healthy. I think that's what the Mets are betting on. But when you lose Pete Alonso
Yeah, like
and you replace him with Jorge Polanco, it's just a hard
it's a hard
bullet
pill
to
to
bite. You know what I
swallow.
mean? And
Yeah.
they're starting to run out of guys to sign, right? Like as we go through the top players or whatever, we're gonna talk about it. But like they are not a play for any of the middle infielders because they are set up there. And
Yeah.
the outfield, they said they didn't really want to bring in another left-handed hitter. It looks like they're going to be counting on Carson Benj. It's just it's really tough when you
It's a
lose Pete Alonso.
really big head scratcher.
Yeah, the biggest value that Polanco brings is he's a good hitter, right? He's a good hitter. He really cut that K rate. He hits the ball hard enough. But the biggest value is that he did that as a second baseman. Now he's doing it as a first baseman. It's like I'm looking at a guy who's like a slightly above average hitting first baseman that probably won't be a good defender
No.
there, that doesn't have value on the bases. It's like, was this really worth spending 20 million a year on? But it's the Mets, so they have money. Hopefully they just spend it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really weird move. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the group chat very
Yeah,
briefly, but I was like, what?
right?
Why?
Like it made sense for a team like maybe the Boston Red Sox, who it felt like needed if they didn't weren't aren't to re-sign Bregman, where it feels like they need just one infielder for a couple of years. But the Mets are signing him, and then they're taking away his biggest value, which is that he's a good hitting infielder, and just turning him into a first baseman. And it's weird because I like what they did with replacing Diaz. Like you're never gonna fully replace Diaz, but Weaver still has his strikeout stuff, even if he struggled down the stretch. Seemed to find his velocity, and then obviously, they like all the Yankees relievers because they also have
Yeah,
Devin Williams and Clay Holmes.
it's been a crazy week with all those signings.
Right. But it's just, I don't know. It's $40 million to a guy who's now going to be a first baseman that has a career 770 OPS. That just doesn't
Yeah,
seem like a very good
those
deal.
aren't very first baseman like numbers because
exactly.
you're expecting that guy
Exactly.
to slug.
Exactly. Right. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, very weird move. I still can't get over it. And
it's
they,
just like, and it's like I know it's not as simple as I'm sure they're not done, so they'll probably upgrade elsewhere. Hopefully, even though they're kind
yeah,
of running out of time,
I'd
right?
hope so.
Right, but it's just kind of funny that it's like, oh, we lost Pete Alonso, but it's okay. We got Jorge Polanco. It's just it's like that's you lose your franchise icon, so you sign Jorge Polanco. It's just
Yeah, and
kind of
I
odd.
talked about this briefly on X when I saw this, but I gotta get your opinion on it. Does this make a guy like McNeil more expendable now?
It should. The thing is, I don't know what McNeil's worth in a trade because he's solid. You know what I mean? Like he's a very solid player. I think he'd make a vast majority of teams better just because he's a league average to above average hitter that can play a multitude of positions. But with his contract, it's like, am I really gonna give up anything really of value to get Jeff McNeil when I could just pay just like your random, utility player to be slightly worse?
Yeah. Pick up an IKF.
Exactly. Oh, not IKF. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anybody other than IKF, but somebody of the IKF mold. You know what I mean? Like just like you could go out there and get like a decent like multi-positional guy, trade for a guy on like a bad team that plays a lot of positions. I don't know what he has as value in trade. I don't think he has no value, but I just don't think he's those guys like the Ernie Clements and the Jose Caballeros, where I think their value to the team is worth more than what like other teams would
Other
trade for.
teams' value. And you know
Yeah,
what, a move that I thought that they were going to do once they lost out what on Alonso was move Vientos to first because he
absolutely.
is so bad at third base. He did get a little better
Yeah.
last year before he got injured. But yeah, I was very shocked that they weren't like as soon as Pete got signed, it's like, oh yeah, we plan to move Vientos to first base.
Yeah, because if you weren't signing Josh Naylor, the first base market, or Pete Alonso, obviously, the first base market was weak. So it felt like I was like, for the Mets, you want to pay Pete Alonso. I kind of get why they didn't give him what the money got. It was a lot of
Yeah.
money, right? But they are the New York Mets. They can pay that. But I get it. But then I was like, okay, Vientos moves to first and go sign Kyle Tucker or go sign Cody Bellinger, right? Really reinforce that outfield. Maybe add an arm too. Polanco just feels like why would you spend 20 million a year on him when you could just move Vientos and have Beatty in the corner and Jeff McNeil play there every now and then?
Exactly. I was gonna say that's like a clear like we saw Beatty be good in stretches,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
but give the guy some more runway. Like he's
yeah,
shown the potential and he's
right,
just been shipped
exactly.
up and down from the
Yeah,
minors to the majors. Like give him some consistent playing
and
time.
use the 20 million on Tatsuya Umai.
Just
Go out
get
there and get
somebody
extra.
of more value.
Exactly. It's like
Because
how much better do I really expect Jorge Polanco to be than Brett Beatty? Better, but 20 million better?
yeah.
Versus if you go inside Amai, I expect him to be a lot better than David Peterson or whoever they're
And
running in their
and they need
rotation.
starting pitching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah, these contracts this year, man. Like, some of the real head scratchers.
They really are like the Adrian Hauser one.
Yeah, I
I don't
just
know
saw that one today. You
if
got a
you're gonna mention that one.
bag.
Right? 22 million for a guy who he wasn't bad last year. He's solid, but it's like, am I giving a 2 year and $22 million deal to like a mid rotation guy who lets up a decent amount of hard contact? I don't
I
know
would have
about that.
seen him getting a contract like that in the first half
Yeah, yeah,
with what he was doing with the White Sox.
yeah,
Uptick in velo,
yeah,
he had like a I think it was a mid threes FIP.
yeah. And he was getting
Um
strikeouts.
yeah, and then goes to the Rays and gets shelled essentially.
Yeah, and it
Um
just his velo drops a little bit. Like he
yeah.
held it enough, I guess, but like he had a bit of a velo drop. Like I'll pull it up here, but it's just I found it odd that he got multi years and 22 million. I thought 11 million a year was fine, but I thought it would have been on one, not over two.
Yeah, and it's not like I mean, I guess the Giants are kind of in need of starting pitching, but
Mhm.
I didn't think that they were, you know, desperate necessarily.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, and
That screams to me like, oh, we need to sign somebody to
yeah,
fill in a rotation spot.
yeah, it almost feels like it's limited upside and the floor isn't even that high. Like I'd rather pay a guy like Cody Ponce who got 33 years, 30 million. It's not this quite the same floor, but it's a higher ceiling because he has better stuff. He actually gets strikeouts than I would pay a guy who is like at his best an innings eater that only played 125 innings last year, and on his floor is a guy who doesn't get strikeouts and lets up a lot of hard contact. It's just
Yeah,
weird.
it's a very
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
But we're gonna move into I'd say the best free agents, and then
Hmm.
sprinkle in a little bit of some guys that we like. But
Sounds good.
the number one free agent on the market this year is Kyle Tucker.
Yeah,
Um, what do what are your thoughts on Tucker, and where do you think he signs?
it's so weird because I think Kyle Tucker is worth 400 million. Like that's a lot of money, I know, and but the only thing is I think he's worth 400 million, but I don't know what team's going to give him 400 million. Like it's
Yeah.
like at this point it feels like only the Jays and maybe the Yankees are going to be looking to go at 400 million dollars. So then when I think about it, I think of Kyle Tucker who's a consistent 4-5 WAR player, plays a solid outfield, does all everything well and I'm like, well he's worth 400 million, but then I got to kind of look and go it's only worth 400 million if teams are kind of bidding for him. I think I know that a lot of people are projecting the Blue Jays. I think the Jays have the most money to spend. I don't think he's going to be a Blue Jay. From the start, I was thinking Yankees, but it seems like the Yankees are, as I said, operating like a small market team
Yeah.
for some reason, and they're going to instead take Bellinger, who's just a worse version of Tucker, essentially. He can play a little bit of center field, which is good, but not for much longer. So I think I really hate that I'm going to say this. I think he's going to end up a Dodger.
See, that's what I was having a feeling you were gonna say that, but I did read a report. I forget which from who it was, but the Dodgers weren't looking to give him more
Yeah.
than I think it was 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so sorry, totally. Yeah, I see that. And the thing is, I think what ends up happening is the Jays are the only team that are going to be willing to give him a long-term deal, it feels
Yeah,
like at this point. And I don't know if they want to bid against themselves. And eventually they might say, hey, listen, we have Bo Bichette who wants to be here, and we can match him and get Bo Bichette. And if the Jays sign Bichette, then Tucker is now gonna have to take a short-term deal. So maybe he takes a Alex Bregman type,
I
like
was
3 year
just
with
gonna
opt
say that.
outs. I really don't want that to happen. I may cry if it does, but it makes a lot of sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, I honestly, with how long this kind of standout has been going with Tucker, I
Yeah,
don't think he's going back to the Cubs. One,
me neither. It doesn't feel like
um,
it.
I think the Mets are in play, but
Mhm.
obviously that's just because they have all the money
They
in the
have money.
world.
Yeah, yeah,
The Jays are in play
yeah.
because actually this year they're actually going after like top free agents and not like, oh, we're interested in everybody. So I think they're actually in play. And then the
Yeah,
Yankees.
yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I'm not confident in them being able to like put
Exactly.
the right amount towards them to be like,
Exactly,
hey,
right?
come be a New York Yankee for the rest of your
Exactly.
career.
And the Phillies, it felt like were a good matchup, but now they got Schwarber and they said they're done with their outfield. So it's like he's kind of running out of suitors. And it feels like if the Jays or Yankees aren't willing to give him $400 million, that he's going to have to settle for a short term deal. And no team like makes more sense on that than the Dodgers, unfortunately, as
Yeah.
much as it sucks to say. Because
If he goes to the Dodgers, I hope there's a lockout.
me too. It's like I
I don't
can't
want to
do
see
that.
it.
I can't do that because it's just like I'm thinking of like if I'm Kyle Tucker and because everybody can offer like the 3 years, 100 million, just call it or whatever, where it's like
Yeah.
or call it 120, probably closer to 40 million a year. Every lots of teams can offer that, but why would I take it with the Yankees or the Cubs or the Tigers when I could take it with the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yeah. And just be like, oh, you know what? It's an automatic
Ring. There it
ring to the,
is.
or at least a World Series appearance
Yep.
at the very least.
Yep. And you got your money and you are on the best team in baseball and you're in LA.
And yeah, you're living in
It's
LA.
just,
It's
it's
like,
just, yeah, that's so. If I had to put a guess, like, I think it's fun if we put our official guess on it. I'm gonna say the Dodgers, and I'm
and
gonna
you think
have the
it's
Yankees
a
as a
short
close
term,
second.
you
Yeah, I
think it's
think
a
he takes
short
a short.
term,
I think so because I just don't. The Yankees. I never know with the Yankees because I didn't think they were going to spend big last offseason and then they paid for Max Fried. So I could never count them out, even if they are operating a little weird. But say Bellinger goes to the Mets. If Bellinger doesn't resign with the Yankees, they're gonna get Kyle Tucker, it feels like, because they can't be the little brother anymore.
yeah.
Like that just can't happen anymore. You know what I mean? So they'll be like, all right, screw it. We'll give them the 400 million or whatever. But I don't think they want two albatross outfielders necessarily.
Yeah. And you know what? I think pain not not that it pains me to say it, but I think he's going to the Jays. And I think it is gonna be
Ah,
on a long-term deal. I think it's gonna be I'm gonna say like I think they're gonna throw I think they might do like a 6 year deal with him.
Mhm.
Like they're gonna throw an absolute bag at him
Yeah,
with defer. They'll have to do deferrals with it.
have to. Yeah.
But yeah, I think he signs with the Jays, and I
I
think
like I
that's
like
like
your thinking better.
their big move.
You know how bad it is that I would be happy almost if Kyle Tucker signed with the Yankees just because it means he's not a Dodger. That's how bad I
I'd be
don't want him
doing
to be a Dodger.
backflips
You
because
know
he
what I
signed
mean?
with the
It's like
Yankees and not the Dodgers.
I would be like, oh, he's a Yankee, but he's not a Dodger. You know what I mean? And that's
Pieces
the big
restored.
difference. Exactly. Pieces restored. They finally didn't get somebody.
Well, moving on to the next big guy. This guy actually signed already. Kyle Schwarber, 5 years, $150 million with the Phillies. That
Yeah.
was my reaction to it. I was like, whoa, this
It's
is a lot of money
yeah.
for a 33-year-old DH.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but he's a DH.
Yeah,
Like it's just I get it. He's very, very good. And
yes.
the one thing that I think actually made it easier to swallow is that Alonso got 5 years, 155, and I would much rather pay Schwarber than Alonso.
Yeah. I
Personally, I
think,
just think Schwarber's bat has already showed that he can age properly. He doesn't chase as much. He strike out, but it's not it's an elite OBP. I feel less worried about that approach aging, and Alonso's gonna it should be a DH right now anyway, but it's a lot of money for a DH.
yeah, it really is. But like you said, he had an elite walk rate this year.
Mhm,
He's always been a guy that, takes his walks, but this year I think there was quite a spike in how high it jumped up.
mhm,
But yeah, honestly, this was someone that, right off the rip, as soon as I saw that Schwarber was going to be a free agent, I was like,
mhm.
if he doesn't sign with the Phillies, the production isn't going to be the same unless
Yeah,
he's in Cincinnati,
yeah,
where
and he
it's a
really
it's a
just bought into the
bandbox.
pull fly balls. Like he bought into
Exactly.
it, and he does it better than just about anybody in the league. And he doesn't chase. He's accepted. He's a DH. It's a lot of money, but I think the Phillies also couldn't afford to lose him because how are they really going to replace that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think from the reports I hear, he's a great
Mm,
clubhouse presence.
yeah, for sure.
And this Phillies team, it just seems like they all like each other,
Yeah,
especially like, the big guys, Harper, Turner,
yeah,
Wheeler when he was on the field.
yeah.
It just seemed like an actual family, and Schwarber kind of just brought it together. So if
Absolutely.
you get
And
rid of a
sorry, go
big
ahead.
piece like that, it's like,
Yeah,
what are you going to replace it with?
absolutely. Like we talked about how the Mets lost Alonso, and as much as it was a lot of money, they replaced him with Jorge Polanco. So it's like, if you're the Phillies and you lose Schwarber and you replace him with, again, Jorge Polanco, it's kind of hard to sell that to your stars. Even if you tell
Yeah.
them, hey, well, listen, we saved money here, they don't care.
No.
Like, it's
Say
Kyle
like
Schwarber.
we want our guy back.
Right, exactly. And honestly, in 3 years, this Phillies team's probably not going to be competing anyway.
No.
So if they get a good first 2, 3 years out of this deal, they probably don't care that the last 2 years are a bit of an albatross because they already have that with Harper and with Trey Turner's
Probably
deals.
Turner. Yeah.
So, it's a lot of money for a DH, but I think the Phillies were the one team that if another team had to gave this deal, I think I would have been a little whoa. If any
Like
team
the
other than
Pirates.
it's oh my god, man. When I saw that report, I was like, oh, they probably offered like $20 million on like a 5 year deal or something. It's like, oh, see, we tried. We tried.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we tried to sign somebody, just no one wanted to come.
They
Yeah,
need to,
that
you know what,
report was a
too?
joke.
It was such a joke because they know that unless they're offering Kyle Schwarber $200 million, they're not getting Kyle Schwarber,
No, exactly.
right? But this way they can say, hey, we offered him $100 million. And it's not like they're then going to go use it on a mid tier free agent. They're just
No.
going to say, we tried, but they really didn't.
And they're gonna run out the same exact roster as they did last season.
Exactly. Aaron McCutcheon right back in that leadoff spot.
And they're gonna expect better results with the same roster.
Right? What could possibly go wrong when you have nobody on your team that's projected to be an above average hitter?
No.
Paul Skeens will come out there and hit for him too. Don't worry.
Yeah, but
Back to the Air Force
it's
days.
one of the poverty franchises of the league, and it's quite honestly a joke.
It's just annoying. Like it's just like because everyone cries about the Dodgers, and I will sometimes do it too. But the fact that they're trying, like the Pirates don't put in any effort.
No.
Like they don't care.
And their
There's
pitching is could be elite. They
Yes,
just need to
exactly.
surround it with capable bats.
That's all they need. Like the fact is when we look at their rotation, it's not that bad. And the end of their bullpen, it's not good, but it's not that bad. Soto and
No,
Dennis Santana are decent late inning combo. If you had competent bats, you would be a competent team.
they
But they
would
don't care.
be at least fighting for a wild card, like in contention for a
And you're
wild
in
card
the
spot.
NL Central.
Yes.
Like you're not
Yes.
in the
Oh my,
NL
I
East, you're in
completely
the NL
forgot about that.
Central.
The Central is so weak that
It's so
it's
weak.
wide open.
It's right there. And sure, the Brewers on any given year, the Cubs don't suck, but it's right there. The Cubs are probably losing Kyle Tucker. They hate signing any reliever that throws harder than 91. It's right there for you. You're in the Central. All you have to do is try a little bit, and then if it doesn't work, just sell it the deadline. Like it's that easy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about pitching, in the next episode, but they
Yeah.
did sign a pitcher that as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a deadline. That's a deadline flip.
You just know that's all they care about. Getting a little bit of assets and say, hey, we tried. When if you just put a little bit of an effort, there's a chance at the deadline you could be buying.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, was it this year or last year? It was in the first half, obviously.
Yeah,
But I
but
was
they were
like,
competing 2 years
yes,
ago,
yes. I was like,
right?
whoa, the Pirates, maybe.
They
And then
could maybe.
it just all
It fell
came
off,
crumbling
but
down.
you know what? That shows that there's the basis of a decent team. The pitching staff, you have Paul Skeens, so
Yes.
you're gonna have at least a decent pitching staff. Just get a couple of capable bats around them. At least you can see what your team looks like. If you get a couple and see, okay, and maybe you jump the gun a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah,
If
like
you,
they're pitching like they're getting Jared Jones back at some point this year.
yep,
Bubba Chandler, they better put him in the
he's so
rotation.
nasty.
If he doesn't have a
Nasty.
rotation spot this year, I might go to Pittsburgh and I'm gonna go deal with that.
It's so true. They're so nasty. It's like it's there for them. Like I just pulled up their projections. Their pitching staff isn't projected to be bad. It's projected to be 17.3 WAR, just in front of the Mariners, in front of the Brewers, in front of the Rays. Obviously, it's mainly in the back of Skeens, but the batting WAR is projected to be the second worst in baseball. And
Yeah.
really, it's the worst in baseball because the Rockies don't
The
count.
Rockies they don't count.
You notice how you said the Rockies before I even said that it was the Rockies? Like everyone just know they're
That
horrible.
that that team also makes no sense to me. It's
It,
like
it I
their
just
hitting is so bad and you play in Colorado. You play
and
on
they
the
signed
moon.
and they signed the Cleveland Browns GM, And I know that he's actually a decent GM, like he's an important, but it's just funny. It's like, oh man, we can't succeed. Let's sign it from the second worst franchise in sports. That'll really solve things. But like I'm looking at the Pirates projections. They only have one player projected for more than two WAR, and that's O'Neill Cruz in center field. Connor Griffin is third
They
on their
they
team in projected WAR.
please,
At
please.
least give it something. But that's what I'm saying. You're up the middle. You're not bad. Like Joey Bart isn't a great catcher, but he's fine. And Henry Davis is the other one. And you have Connor Griffin who can play short, and O'Neill Cruz in center field, who not perfect, but is a solid player. Go out there. Like they should have been all over a guy like Josh Bell to do some DHing for the team. Go out, or Jorge Polanco made a lot of sense too. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the Mets paid him to be their first baseman. But go out there, get a bat or two, and just kind of add a few more WAR in their pushing playoff territory, especially
Yeah,
this year.
I'm really excited to see what Connor Griffin has. Um, I've been
That
hearing
dude's
about him for way too long, and now he's actually gonna get a shot, apparently, according to Pirates GM.
yeah, and he
But
should.
yeah, exactly.
I hope that that's not their one move because that puts a lot of pressure on him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it shouldn't be like it's okay. We struck out on every single bat we got, but we're signing calling up this 19-year-old. He's gonna fix everything.
yeah. Like, I mean, that's essentially what they did with Skeens. It's like, oh, pitching sucks. Come up, Skeens.
And it worked.
Yeah,
But
that's the one time it works. But yeah, just happen to have the best pitcher in baseball just waiting in the minors to get called
yeah,
up.
it's a pretty good situation to be in. Go out there, add a couple of bats. There's a couple of guys who we'll talk about later that I'll bring up. And yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, please, Pirates, do something. All right, jumping into the next free agent, we have Cody Bellinger, was part of my Yankees last year. I'm just gonna say he better be a Yankee, and if he goes to the Mets, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, Bellinger, it feels like is gonna be a Yankee, but there are some other teams that I thought he was a good match for the Phillies early, but I think the Phillies have kind of given up to that. The team other than the Yankees and the Mets, because I feel like those are kind of the two favorites to get him that I kind of found interesting was the Reds. The Reds outfield predicament is
Yo, that's
really
I was
bad.
literally thinking about it. I'm like, because he needs to pull the ball in the air,
Yeah,
and the only other place that makes sense is Cincinnati.
yeah, he's a great fit for that. He's good at pulling the ball in the air. He doesn't strike out. And the Reds outfield situation is pretty bleak.
Yeah,
It's currently
not
left
good.
field's projected for point 0.8 F4 and right field's projected for 1.4. Their best outfielder other than TJ Friedel is Noel V. Marte, who's an infielder.
Yeah,
So, and their next best is Calvin Lux, who's also an infielder. So it would make a lot of sense. Now I don't see necessarily maybe the Yankees getting outbid for
yeah, especially
Cody Bellinger.
not by the Reds.
Yeah, exactly. But
That would be like that'd be the nail in the coffin if I'm
the
being quite
message
honest.
that I would send to you when that happened would be the
Oh,
greatest message of all time. It would be it's just like I don't know. And what would you even say? Like if you
it
lose
would
him in a bidding war to the Reds.
my phone would be on do not disturb for the rest of the year because that I mean
The
it
only
like you said it is a really good fit and like
Mhm.
it makes sense.
And the
But
Reds should have some money.
yeah, I was gonna say it comes down to like a money thing essentially because like the Reds don't have any big contracts on the
Mhm.
roster right now.
Mhm.
So technically they have the money to spend, but are they willing to put all that money into one guy?
Yeah, and I think the Yankees saw he was a good fit. He was a good fit with Judge. The fact that he can play center field on occasion and as well as first base makes it easier for lineup for just versatility. So I don't see him leaving there. The other team that I think could be a match, but maybe for the other outfielder might be a better match is the Giants. The Giants look relatively bleak on the position player side, but they seem like they're a team that's willing to spend money
Yeah, they
and
have.
it, right. And the other team who I would, and I think I didn't mention him in Kyle Tucker talks. That was the other team that I could have seen making him a big offer potentially. Probably not 400 million, but if he goes down to like the 350 million range, because currently they're having Heliot Ramos for left field, who is one of the worst defenders I've ever seen in my entire life, and Drew Gilbert or Luis Matos in the other corner. So filling up one of those, Bellinger is a bit of an awkward fit because it's a really big park, but
Yeah.
it could potentially work if they're like, hey, just hit for a high BABIP, hit a lot of doubles type of thing.
Yeah, and the guy with Bellinger, he's athletic enough to play
Yeah,
the outfield too. But like you
yeah,
said, it is a
especially
really, really like big and
yeah,
awkward outfield.
yeah, and I think that could help with defensively. Like he's not a right. He's plays left field in New York, which is tough. And I think that he's very athletic. He's not really a center fielder anymore.
No.
He's kind of a very good corner outfielder. But playing a place where your corner outfield is bigger, I think that's a bigger advantage. Versus like in Cincinnati, it's like he's not going to give much defensive
No,
value
he's
there
not gonna give
because
it.
it's small. Like
Yeah.
there's only so much to do. Yeah,
But yeah. I hope he re-signs with the Yankees because like
he should.
they need him so bad.
You know what it is? I think Bellinger wants to be a Yankee. I think the Yankees want Bellinger to be a Yankee. The Yankees have the money, kind of like the Jays with Bichette. They have the money, and they probably both are mutually into an interaction. The Yankees will have to get outbid, I think, for
Yeah.
Bellinger because I think he wants to be Yankees, and I can't see Yankees letting that happen.
No, I think if anything, it comes down to the amount of years because I've seen
Yeah,
him reportedly wanting. I think it's like I saw a 7 year deal at
7.
one
Yeah,
point. I was like,
it's a lot of years. I would almost like because I think if he gets 7, is probably like mid low 20s on the
yeah,
AAV. I would almost rather give him like 30 million a year, but over like 4. And
Yeah,
just
I
kind of
was gonna
like,
say
even if he has two
if
bad years,
I'm
it's
the
fine.
GM, I'm capping it at 5.
Yeah,
Raise
yeah,
the AV, but
yeah,
yeah, I'm not doing a
yeah, or
6 or 7 year deal.
some sort of
That's
like vesting options shenanigans or something, but
there's
guaranteed
gonna be
7 years.
yeah,
Jeez,
that's I can't
for a
do
guy with
that.
injury issues and a that doesn't hit the ball that hard.
Yeah,
He's kind of at
another
that point where the max of his power he needs to use to hit home runs. So if
it
his
has
bat
to
speed
be in
slows down
Yankee Stadium.
anymore, you know what I mean? And if his bat speed slows down anymore, now all of a sudden he's just hitting a lot of warning track flyouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone that I don't think is going to be hitting many warning track flyouts is Pete Alonso on the Orioles, 5 years, $155 million.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna start it with this. This has the potential to be one of the worst contracts given out in recent history. It's a hot take, I know, and I don't want to downplay. I talked about it in my episode too. I don't want to downplay like the Orioles spent, and that's good, and that's what they're supposed to do. And we talked about how some of these mid-market teams don't really spend. The Orioles did it in a position of need, but $155 million for a guy who is already the worst defensive first baseman in baseball, that's a lot of money, a lot of money. And he has very good power and he has a higher batting average floor than Schwarber. But I'd be really worried about the aging of this profile because he will chase and he will strike out, even if it got a little bit better. And he doesn't walk nearly as much as Schwarber does. So this just has the potential to legitimately be one of the worst contracts we've seen given out in a while.
Yeah, and it's kind of giving me like not PTSD, but it's kind of giving me flashbacks of like the Tyler O'Neill contract
Yeah,
from last year.
yeah,
It was like, oh, this could be a really good contract, and it just didn't work out in the first year. Don't
yeah,
think it's gonna work out this year, and
yeah.
like you're kind of stuck with it.
It almost feels like for the Orioles, they knew that they weren't going to be in the market for Kyle Tucker. Kyle Schwarber was probably out of reach. Bregman, they don't need a
They
third
don't need
baseman,
no.
right? And like Bo Bichette, same idea. They don't really need a middle infielder. So I think they identified Alonso as the one higher level free agent that actually fits in their team because at outfielders, like they probably need another outfielder or whatever, or they needed a first baseman, but those guys weren't really in their bracket and they saw Alonso as the best fit and they're like, hey, you know what? If we have to overpay him by $30 million, so be it. Let's just get our guy. But it's a lot of money for a
This
DH.
it is a lot of money, and yeah, I don't, and like the craziest part to me about this whole thing is like, it goes back to the mess that they didn't even offer him a contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, it was out of their price range, and like
Yeah. You're the
personally,
Mets.
I saw Pete being in blue and orange his
Me
whole
too.
career,
Me too. And he's in orange, just
just
different type
not the
of orange
blue.
now.
Yeah, I was like,
It's weird because I talked about it in my episode, my return pod, um, how after the Mets had signed Devin Williams, how they're not done yet. It feels like, and I said like Alonso's not leaving, and that was kind of my like whole thought this entire time. Like he was never going, and then the rumors started to heat up, and I was like, they're just using him as leverage. He wants to come back, and then I saw he actually signed with the Orioles, which I hate because AL East go away. But $155 million. And Josh Naylor had got the second biggest free agent contract from a first baseman, and he only got 95 million.
yeah,
So
and
an extra 60 million.
personally, I'd take Josh Naylor over
Absolutely.
Pete. That's maybe a
For
crazy take
at
for
the
some people.
wait, as players or at the contract?
I'm taking the contract over.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying as a player. Yeah, no, I'd much rather pay Josh Naylor $20 million a year, right? It's like then pay Pete Alonso $155 million. Like that's a shortstop contract or an outfielder contract. That's not a
Yeah,
first
and
baseman
it's
contract,
not a first baseman contract.
especially at 31. Right? If you had to gave him this at 28, okay, maybe get
Just
one bad year out of it,
few years too late.
right? But he's gonna be 37 at the end of this contract.
Yeah, like
I don't know. I don't know. It's
yeah,
a
it's
lot
a
of
it's a
money.
DH, and Naylor can give you at least a little bit more defensive.
Right? And base running value.
It,
Alonso gives you
yeah,
no base running
that
value.
total side note, but that 30-30 season from there, I was
It's
like,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous because I saw this comment on Reddit. Somebody was like, "Is Josh Naylor the like unlikeliest five tool player ever?" And I was like, "Dude, like look at him. No, he's not." But then I looked at the stats. I'm like, he's really not that far off it. He doesn't have as much
no.
power maybe as you might think because I think he only hit 20 bombs this year or whatever. But he steals bags. He hits for a high average. He walks at a decent clip, and he plays a good first base. And it costs 60 million cheaper. It's a
Yeah,
whole like Edwin Diaz. You know what I mean? You can get Edwin Diaz and
and
Josh
Josh.
Naylor for the same price as Pete Alonso. You know what I mean? And I know it's
That
not
just
that
goes to
simple,
show
but
you how bad this contract is going to be.
it's just it's too much, man. It's just too much. But I think in the Orioles case, if Alonso's good for the first 3 years and they get the most out of those last few Adley Gunnar Henderson years, they don't really care.
Yeah, they're gonna take the front end for sure, and then just kind of be
Yeah,
like, "Yep, you're full-time DH because
yeah,
you're getting horrendous at
yeah.
first
And I don't
base."
think and I don't think they're gonna pay Gunner and them anyway. So
No,
I think they'll be
I
like, you know what, 2 year retool, and we'll have a guy who's hitting 35 bombs, even if it's with a 750 OPS. And
yeah,
we'll stick with you.
that's one thing. I don't like as much as I like that whole Orioles core and what they had going. I
Mhm.
don't think any of them are staying,
It doesn't
unfortunately.
feel like it. It just doesn't feel like they have that kind of money for, especially for Gunner, because Gunner is will be young. He's going to be getting 350, 400 million. And Adley, it doesn't even seem like is worth paying anymore, to be honest.
No, he fell like right off a cliff. It's
Right
been
off. Even the defense
unbelievable.
isn't what it used to be. Against the Blue Jays, he's still the best hitter. If you could convince him, it's like the Vladdy. If you could convince Vladdy that he was always facing the Yankees, he'd be the best player in the league. If you could convince Adley that he's always facing the Blue Jays, he'd be the best player in the league. 673 OPS with slightly above average framing and blocking for Adley this year.
Yeah, and that was his calling card. Switch
Yeah,
hitting, amazing defensive catcher, and
yeah.
just
And he's not an amazing defender, and he's
no,
just not even that. And the year before that, it's not like this was a 1 year turn. He was a
no,
709 OPS guy before that, the year
he's
before
been
that.
on the decline the last it feels like 3 years because he had a good
Yeah,
front half
yeah,
3 seasons ago and then just
yeah,
fell off a cliff and we were like, oh, sophomore slump, but
yeah.
it's been for a while now.
And there's legit worries in the profile. He doesn't strike out and he doesn't chase and he doesn't whiff, but he just doesn't hit the ball very hard.
No,
And in 2023, he didn't really hit the ball that hard. It's not like there's been some big thing, but he's hitting the ball on the ground more and more, and he's hitting it less and less hard. And last year, like if you look at his profile page, he just looks like an average catcher. That's just what he looks like. An average catcher with very good plate discipline. I don't know.
not doing much, but someone
Doing
that
much.
I think could be doing much in a different position, maybe Bo Bichette.
Oh, yeah.
Shortstop, second base. I've heard a couple third base rumors.
It's got to be a he can't be a shortstop anymore, right? He's fat,
No,
and it doesn't feel like
he's
there's any team
so
that needs a
bad.
shortstop anymore.
So bad
And
at shortstop.
he's just not a very good shortstop, and he's gotten slower and slower and wider as he's aged, and he can still hit, and he should be a fine second baseman or third baseman. And with his offensive skill set, that's a very valuable profile. The injuries are a little concerning though.
Yeah, it was the position is probably what intrigues me the most,
Mm-hmm.
just because I think he whatever team signs him, immediately second base. Like
Yeah, I agree. And there's not many.
I wouldn't want the liability as shortstop any
Yep,
longer. I'm
yep,
sure the whole league has seen it for
yep.
way too long.
Yeah, and there's no
Um,
team that is desperate for a shortstop. Is I
exactly.
think what it is. Like with Xander Bogarts, he probably never should have been a shortstop. They're kind of similar profiles. Xander was a bit better of a defender, but similar in cases of they had some injury issues. Hit for a very high average, can hit for power, although it's not their calling card. Not the best defensive players. No team is desperate for a shortstop. I think they'd rather him at second base and just be an everyday second baseman.
Yeah, and the question is now, where does he sign? Because if I think this was the first thing I thought the Jays were going to do as soon as the World
Yeah,
Series was over was
felt like it.
just whatever Bo Bichette wants, just
Here you go.
give it
Have
to
it.
him.
Yep.
But I don't know now because like it's been I don't know. For me, I think it's been a little long that the
Mhm.
Jays like we haven't even heard about an offer to him.
Kind of the way that I feel with Bichette is I think the Jays know that Bichette's market isn't what he thought it was going to be. Like I think it's not as competitive as it is, and the Jays know that if they can't land Kyle Tucker, because Kyle Tucker is better than Bo Bichette. I don't think that's any type of hot
No,
take. I love
no
Bo
one's
Bichette,
arguing that.
right? Love Bichette, don't want him gone. Tucker's better, and the Jays are like, listen, if we can get Tucker, then we don't pay Bo Bichette, and Bichette's got to kind of go get whatever. But if they can't get Tucker, I'd be very surprised if the Jays don't get one of Tucker or Bichette. And I know people say both. That doesn't feel likely. But like for Bo's case, Bo says he wants to be a Blue Jay. Blue Jays obviously want Bo to be a Blue Jay. It feels like eventually this will come to some sort of resolution where if it's Boston, that makes some sense for them, or maybe some team out in the NL. I don't exactly know honestly a bigger attraction for him that if they don't get Kyle Tucker or if they give up on the Kyle Tucker, Bo says, here's what we have from them. And Jay's like, all right, we'll match.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox were a team that I saw, and also I could see the Mariners. They need a second baseman. They have
I don't see the Mariners spend that money. That's my thing. They need it, but
yeah, that's the
they
thing
don't
is
have
that
money.
they need a second baseman because
Yeah.
they got Jorge Polanco playing first base in New York now. But they have, oh my goodness, the rookie. His
Cole
name
Young.
just escaped my, yes, Cole Young playing second base, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they want him necessarily starting the year as the starting
Yeah.
second baseman. I
Yeah.
know
I
he
talked about
showed
that.
like
Yeah.
flashes of, what he could
Yeah.
be, but I think it's kind of like more of a bench piece for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
And
it comes down to the money that the
yeah,
Mariners are
exactly.
probably not
Exactly. And they
willing to
have
spend.
they have Ben Williamson, who's going to be their third baseman probably, along with like Leo Rivas. It doesn't feel like the Mariners can go into the season with both of those holes being young guys. So Bichette makes a lot of sense to them. It just doesn't feel like they're going to be willing to cough up the money
Yeah.
because they're a team that doesn't do it. But it does make a lot of sense in terms of just straight fit. The Giants are another team at putting them at second base. They could set the infield with Chapman, Adames, and Bichette. It would be a very good hitting infield for a while. Two good defenders on the other side of him. You can deal with Bichette, even if he's not a good second baseman. Get that bat in the
The
lineup,
bat
give you
was
another
gonna
high
play
ceiling guy.
over the defense. I'm taking the bat over,
Yeah,
the
right?
absolute negative OAA, negative
Exactly.
DRS.
And he might hit 150 doubles in
Oh,
San Fran. He's just gonna wear out
he's
those
gonna
those
wear
limits.
out the
He might have
wall.
300 hits. It's just that's the one team that I think outside of the Jays and Red Sox makes the most sense. I also have to say the New York Yankees. It will hurt me in my heart if they
Really?
get him, but I think they could try him at short, see how bad he is with Volpe being out for the start anyway. And then if he's as bad as expected, you move him to second, Chisholm goes back to third. And if he's not, and if he's fine, then you keep him at shortstop until Chisholm's gone, and then you move him a couple of years later if Volpe can kind of rediscover himself. I think it gives them a good fallback plan, but that's only if they miss out on Bellinger, because I don't think they pay both of them. But if they miss out on Bellinger, it hurts me because I can't imagine seeing Bo in pinstripes, but
Yeah, that would
it
be a
makes a lot of
crazy
sense.
sight.
It makes sense. I just don't see. I think his market's awkward. There's not too many great fits at in terms of money wise.
I was gonna say with Bo's market kind of being in a weird situation right now, do
Mhm.
you think also with the injury concerns, he's been,
Yeah,
slightly banged up. Last
yeah,
season only played 139
all on the same
games.
leg too.
Yeah, it's been
Yep,
knee,
yep,
hamstring,
yep. Calf.
calf. I think he had a wrist
Yep,
a few years ago.
yep, yep. He's had some. It's not like he has the same reoccurring injury, but it's not nothing either.
Yeah, exactly. Like these are all things that, especially as a shortstop,
Yeah, yeah,
you're kind of worried about.
mhm,
So I think that's also a thing that teams are looking at is like
for
how
sure,
available is this
for
guy
sure,
really going to be? It's like
absolutely.
he is going to, hit for whatever, above 300
Yep,
easily. It's going to be top five in the league for hits. But
yep.
how many games is he going to be out there?
Absolutely. The other team I actually wanted to give a shout out quickly to is the Angels because the Angels like giving out contracts to players that they probably don't deserve the huge contract. Uh, and no hate to Bo Bichette, he's great. I love Bo, but if Bo Bichette was to get a 10-year deal, which I
Oh,
don't think he will,
it'd be from
because
the Angels.
it would be from the Angels, without a
And it'd
doubt,
be
right?
for
Right.
some ridiculous amount too.
It would be 10 years, 325 million. Everybody be like, who are they bidding against? Because nobody else was
No
offering them
one, no
that.
one
Everyone
was
else was
offering this
offering
much.
everyone was offering 25 million over 5 to 7 years, and you guys just offered them 32 million over 10. That's something the Angels would do.
Yeah. A team that I don't think the Angels are going to sign is Alex Bregman, the next big guy on the list.
Yeah.
Um, this is an interesting one for me because I immediately, with the season that he had, he didn't play a full season.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 114,
Mm-hmm.
but he did enough and showed
Yeah.
enough that, he was able to opt out of that contract, which
Yep.
was absurd at 35 mil a year.
Yeah.
I thought that was a massive overpay.
Yeah.
Um, but
And he
I
played for
think he could
Rangers.
go back to the Red Sox. I think he could go AJ Hinch, Tigers.
Whew. Then I like
I
so
I think he could go a bunch of places.
the Red Sox feels the most logical way. It's a reunion with a team that needs a third baseman, has money, but I really like the Tigers fit. I don't feel confident in Colt Keith, McKinstry, or Vierling really being the full time third baseman there. It makes a lot of sense. The Tigers have money, but not to the Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Mets level. The Tigers make a lot of sense. I think the thing with Bregman is that he was linked to the Diamondbacks. That doesn't feel real because why
No,
would the
that
Diamondbacks talk about trading Ketel Marte and then trade him and then sign the worst
yes.
player for more money? But there's just not too many fits outside of the Red Sox and Tigers that I really like. Maybe the Mariners if they're going to spend, as we said. But again, it's the whole money thing. The Red Sox are projected to be 23rd in F4 from third baseman, and they're the Boston Red Sox. Like it just feels like they shouldn't be letting a guy like Alex Bregman that you already know fits with your clubhouse go.
Exactly. And he was such a good fit in
Mm-hmm.
in Boston. It's like,
Yeah.
why aren't you trying to get this guy back like immediately?
It feels weird that we haven't heard them linked as often as you would think. I honestly thought like when the offseason hit, I was like, yeah, like he's going to the Red Sox. There was three things that felt like givens. It was that he's going to the Red Sox, that Alonso was going back to the Mets, and that Diaz was going back to the Mets, and none of those have happened so far. So maybe I just don't know
You
baseball.
might go
I
0
might
for
just not
3
know
at this
ball.
point.
I might just go over three. I might just go over
But
three.
yeah, I think that that trio of guys in Detroit, yeah, like you said, I don't think it's gonna get it done,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're kind of depending on. I know McKinstry was an all-star in the utility position, but
But he's just he's
yeah,
a utility player.
yeah, exactly.
That's
You
what he
don't
is.
want him being your full-time third baseman. And a guy like
Yeah,
Vierling, I think he's primarily an outfielder
yeah.
that at least we've seen from his Philly days and early when he
He's a
got
utility
traded.
player as well.
Yeah. And Colt Keith has shown little to nothing,
Yeah,
no production.
yeah,
So that's a great fit. And like he's joined backing in with AJ Hinch, who's he's
yeah,
very familiar with.
yeah,
But I mean, and it shows the Tigers, or it shows primarily Scooble that
yeah.
hey, we're looking to
We're
be
looking. Look,
competitive.
we finally got you an actual bat,
Yes.
right? Like, because the Tigers are a very solid team, but their big bat is what, a platoon of both platoons of Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green. Like, they don't hit same sided pitching very well. You finally got your first guy that is just
Can be
slotting the no
in the
brainer.
lineup every single day.
Exactly. No brainer, good hitter. You finally get your guy. McKinstry's expected stats were quite bad last year. Same idea of Vierling. Keep them in platoon pieces and utility pieces. He can, and it puts the team's floor and ceiling way higher.
Yeah, and they play in the AL Central. That's a very
Play
uncompetitive
in the Central and
division.
good things can happen.
Exactly. Put competitive bats in a lineup.
Yeah, you
Who
never
knows? You
know.
you, you win the division.
You never know, because even as set, I think the Tigers have the best offense in AL Central, and I think the Tigers are like a league average offense. So get yourself another good bat, and all of a sudden you've just taken your floor and ceiling to another level. And the Tigers can do that. They have money. They showed it
Yeah,
last year.
I would love to see the Tigers make a move to show that they're competitive.
Yeah, and they showed up the
Um,
back of the bullpen with Finnegan and Jansen already. So
they
go out
did,
there and
they
get a bat.
did. One guy that I'm still having trouble deciding where he's gonna go is Munetaka Murakami.
Hmm.
Um, on the day of recording, this is December 17th. We have up until the 22nd for
Yeah,
him to sign.
yeah.
So that's right around the corner, and I've heard absolutely nothing.
It's so interesting because when this offseason started, I highlighted him just like as a guy who could be a big time sleeper. I could see him getting anywhere from like a 5 year deal worth $20 million a year, let's just say, to getting like a 2 year deal worth like 20 million in total. You know what I mean? Like it's his market of outcomes is just so high because the ceiling versus floor. It feels weird. Originally, I said the Mariners. That made a lot of sense to me. I think now with Naylor, probably not. But a team like the Red Sox is now who I think if I had to put somebody, I think that's who I would go with.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation because from at least what we've heard and what people are reporting, he's a good bat, but strikes out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't a third baseman really,
No.
DH first baseman
Yep.
kind of combo.
Yep.
Um, but is projected over here to hit roughly 25 to 30 home runs.
Yep.
And that sounds like, a very good bat to
And
have
he's
in a
young.
lineup. Like
And he's
anybody would
young.
want that.
Yeah, it's so funky because like I just don't know what the ultimate contract looks like, but like I could see him getting kind of like that, that opt out late in like it will be like 5 years, but there'll be a bunch of stuff that vests, and if this does this, that's the kind of contract that I think he's most likely to end up getting. But I think there's a lot of teams that could use him. It's just about how many teams are willing to risk it. And I think
Yeah.
it's more likely to be a mid-market team.
And the thing too is the posting fee.
Yeah.
That also plays quite a big factor
Yeah.
into the contract, which, I was watching a video, I think it was yesterday on the treadmill. If they say $100 million contract over whatever, I think it was 3 or 4 years, ends
Mm-hmm.
up coming out to, I think it was a 20 or $25 million posting fee.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a
It adds up.
lot of money.
It adds up, especially when you're not even getting. It's okay when you're getting Yoshi Yamamoto
Yeah.
or when you're getting Shohei Ohtani, where it's like this guy's elite, or even with Tatsuya Amai. I don't think the posting fee is going to change people. But with a guy like Murakami, where you're already inheriting a lot of risk, adding a lot of money on top of that is very questionable. And Murakami's projections aren't bad, but he's projected for 112 WRC plus two WAR. That's like a league average first baseman. He is only 25, I understand, but it's just a I don't know. Like whichever team gets them, I think it needs to go to a team where they have success with hitting development because he's not a finished product.
Yeah, no, he needs to be not the main piece in the lineup. He needs to
Yep.
be five, six,
Yep.
somewhere where,
Yep.
all the energy and attention
Yep.
isn't on him.
Yep. Go out there, hit some bombs, and play decent enough defense. I think the one thing with Murakami is he's probably not a third baseman, but I think he could play a passable amount of third base for a year or two. So if you're a team that maybe has a first baseman that's kind of on the way out, um, like the Houston Astros, it could make sense. You give him, he plays a couple of years at third. The Astros obviously have Correa at third, so I'm not saying exactly the Astros, but a team that maybe has a bit of a question mark at third in the present, but then has the hole at first as well. I think it could make sense. I don't think he's going to be great there, but if he can hit enough, he could just be a passable third baseman.
Exactly. Another bat for my Yankees, I got picked up Trent Grisham. He accepted the qualifying offer, 1 year, 22 mil. I liked him. I was not expecting the production that he had at all.
Yeah, Grisham's interesting.
Shocking.
It, I totally understand why you'd accept the QO. I was thinking he was gonna opt out and get like a 3 or 4 year deal at a
That's
lower AAV, but
that's what I
just
was
guarantee
thinking.
himself the money. But I think the one positive he has here is the next year's position player class is horrible. Like outside of Dalton Varsho and Jazz Chisholm, there's like no good position players. So if you're Grisham, if you do the same thing you did this year again, which we'll see if he can do it, the peripherals don't say they were that unsustainable. But if you can go ahead and you can hit free agency at the age of 30 in a bad market where teams are maybe looking to overpay guys.
Yeah, and this was a guy that had, career high home runs, RBIs. His
You
defense
name it, it was
wasn't,
pretty much a career high,
yeah,
except for
his
defense.
his defense, graded out a little below average than, what is expected of him. Which was weird. But
It was. He had some
I mean,
hammy things, I think, didn't he? Am I not
yeah, he
mistaken?
had, I think it was a hamstring issue at some point during the year, but
Yeah, so it could just be, and it's just a little funky. You shouldn't take 1 year sample. He's always been a good defender, so
yeah,
I'd say he's
exactly.
at least
That's
average.
what the crazy thing is that the defense kind of fell, but like the offense just went through the roof.
Pretty good trade off. I'll take the
Yeah,
2 outs above average for an 800 OPS center fielder.
yeah, it's a crazy thing, and like he's only gonna play center field, so
Mhm.
I won't have to watch Aaron Judge play center field. Thank God. Um, but yeah, I like the move. I think 22 mil is a little steep.
It's a lot, but it's 1 year, and I think it
Yeah.
works perfectly for the Yankees. They can kind of reassess next year if he's worth it or not, and this way they have their outfield set. You can kind of see if Jason Dominguez could maybe be an answer. I don't think he is, but if he is, or Spencer Jones, kind of get an idea of maybe one of these guys can
One of
step
them
in, right,
has
and
to
just be
work
a
out.
serviceable outfielder, and then you can just kind of figure out everything later. I think that's why the Yankees offer him the QO, knowing that he might accept it because they're not mad that
No,
him on a 1 year deal is not ruining their finances.
you just, hope that he gives you that same production that you
Yeah,
got out of him last year.
just make sure you get Bellinger back.
Yes. Please,
Big
please,
part of that outfielder.
please.
Big part of that outfield.
But next guy is Josh Naylor, who, like we talked about before, 5 year, 92.5 mil. I like this contract. He was a great fit for them in the playoffs. Um, really showed that, this guy's made for the bright lights, can swing the bat, steal a little bit of some bases, sneaky stolen base guy, which wouldn't have expected if you just looked at him or looked at his baseball savant sprint speed.
First
Um,
percentile, is it? Third percentile, something like that.
it's I remember this was like the thing that they talked about all throughout the World Series is
Yeah,
like, or not even the World Series.
they didn't make it.
The,
We did. Thank you very much.
you know what I mean? But it's like this guy's on just he's a little faster than Kirk, and he
Yeah,
stole all these bases. I was like, are we sure about that? And I had to go look it up. I was like, there's actually no way he's the second slowest guy in the league, and
yeah. Just
somehow
look,
stole
third
all these
percentile.
bases.
Third percentile sprint speed. My opinion on Naylor really flipped once that Alonso contract was signed. Because at the time I was like, this is a fine contract. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like maybe it's a little expensive for a first baseman, but he's good and he can hit and he plays a solid defense. He won't be a DH in a year or two, even if he
no.
is a bit awkwardly built, so to say. But then after the Alonso deal was signed, I was like, okay, I take it back. This is a
This is
fantastic
a
deal
great signing.
because the profile isn't perfect. Like if you go and look at Savant, I usually like my first baseman to have a bit more bat speed, but he doesn't strike out. He walks at a decent clip. He plays a decent defense, and he has good bat to ball skills, and he has a knack for the barrel. So I like this deal. If he can bring back a little bit more bat speed that he had from 2024, I'd like it even more. But he's a very solid player. I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a very solid deal to get your first baseman locked down for a few years.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it too. It's a great signing all around. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you like them enough to bring them in, and you
Yeah.
saw what you needed to see to say, hey, we're gonna sign you long term.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And a guy also on the Mariners, Gino Suarez. This guy really hurts my head because
That's such a good way to put it.
He was, the prize possession at the deadline
Yeah.
with all these home runs. I think he
Yeah.
had, I think it was approaching 40 at the
Yeah.
deadline.
And he ended up with, yeah.
Comes to the Mariners, which he's been a part of already and hit well, and they did nothing.
Just nothing. Every time he came up outside of that one grand slam that he hit against
It
us,
was an
I was
automatic
happy
out.
to see him.
It was an
It
automatic
was
out.
like he just didn't look comfortable. His swing was very handsy. I don't know what to make of Gino because his defense fell off too. In 2024, he was a very good defender. 2023, he was one of the league's best. 2022, he was league average. 2021, he was horrible. And then 2025, he was horrible. So is he a good defender or not? Like, that's a big if. And then he just strikes out so much. Like,
He
he doesn't
does.
make enough contact, and his bat speed isn't great either. He's very dependent on being able to pull the ball in the air, which he can do very well, but I he's so polarizing. I think it's going to end up being a team that misses out on Bregman and Bichette. That kind of goes, uh-oh, and kind of panics and gives a lot of money to a 34-year-old Geno Suarez.
I think I've heard this everywhere. It's not an original answer, but I think it goes back to the Reds. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
perfect place for him to either be first baseman or DH because they have Cabrian
Yeah,
Hayes there at third.
yeah.
I'm sure that, he's not moving because they
It's
need the defense.
what, you
But
wouldn't move him
that's,
off the position for a guy who's been off and on a decent defender? You wouldn't move the best defender in baseball off his position? So rude of
let
you.
me think about that. But it's a guy that he's familiar with the ballpark, has mashed there before.
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like a perfect fit to me.
I like that fit. I think the Reds need some sort of ceiling on offense. Like when I'm looking at their lineup, Tyler Stevenson behind the dish, Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, South Stewart at first, Matt McLean at second, Elliott short, Cabrian at Hayes at third, and then Lux Friedel, Noel V. Marte in the outfield, with some combination of those guys doing some DHing as well.
Yeah.
Outside of Ellie De La Cruz, which one of those bats do you feel confident is an average or above average hitter?
If you would have asked me like 2 years ago, I would have said, oh my goodness, I just forgot his name. Second baseman.
Oh, McLean.
Yes. I would have said
Yeah,
him. He looked good, and
he
then
did.
shoulder surgery kind of
Yeah.
just
And
derailed
he had an
him.
ACL too, didn't he? Or was that one
Or
Steer? I can't
I
remember.
think it
One of them
was,
tore their
yeah.
ACLs. But
But
it was
yeah,
a
I
bad
was
year
I was
last
really
year.
excited about McLean, and then kind of just was meh.
Yeah, and he's a
Really,
good
but
defender,
yeah,
but it's just, am I confident in that as my
as your
bat number two
second
behind Ellie De
big
La
bat, it's
Cruz?
like
You know what I mean?
no,
So I
there's
think
no
going
one
out
in that
there,
lineup really offering protection to a guy
yeah,
like Ellie.
exactly. So going out there and getting a guy with a bit of a higher ceiling as a bat makes sense. I still like him just back to the Mariners. I just think the Mariners, as I said, I don't think they can go into this year with both second base and third base being young guys. And they're not going to be, I don't think they're going to pay for Bichette, and I don't think they're going to pay for Bregman. So I think they go the next step down and they just re sign Gino, even if he wasn't great in the second half of the season and he's 34 years old.
All right, so jumping into some guys that, I have a little interest in talking about. First one is going to be JT Real Muto.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aging catcher,
Yep.
but still provides really good pop time.
Mm-hmm.
Is always up there in defensive war. Doesn't really give you, anything crazy with the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts? Because I think he's the only fit realistically is I can see him going back to the Phillies, but anywhere else that you kind of have in mind?
Realmuto's interesting because he's the best catcher on the market, not because he is a fantastic catcher, but because the other ones kind of suck. And catching in baseball is just poor. Like it's very poor. There's not a lot of good catchers. So getting one that has some sort of offensive upside is rare, and one that can do that while being a non-horrible defender is even more rare. His framing's pretty bad, but he's got a great arm. Um, the Phillies make the most sense because they are currently projected for last in F4 from their catching position, and he was already a Philly. But outside of that, I really do like the Red Sox for him. Carlos Narvaez had a good first half, but the dude just can't hit. Like
No.
he just can't. There's a reason the Yankees gave him up. If we're being honest, as much as people wanted to hate on him for that, and I did, of course, because that's my favorite thing to do. They they needed another catcher, and Connor Wong is also horrible. He can't hit or play defense.
No, he
So
can't do either.
exactly,
That was a crazy fall off. I
exactly.
personally liked Connor Wong at least a little bit because he was like a, soft hitting but
Yep,
decent defending catcher.
yep. He's
And
not that best piece in the Mookie Betts
nope.
trade though. I mean, I would trade up for Mookie Betts, wouldn't you?
Oh my, that
Why
I
pay
heard
Mookie
that
Betts what
trade
he's
a
worth when
couple
you could get people who could be Mookie Betts but aren't?
yeah, that I heard it again, that trade got brought up a couple days ago and I was like, man, that was a horrible trade.
Like, you know what it is with a lot of the bad trades, there's a lot of ways you can kind of slice it like, well, but there's not a single
No.
positive for that trade because Mookie Betts continued to be elite. If they had just paid him, they would have been better off. And not a single Alex Verdugo was the only player who was decent,
Yeah,
and
he
he's not
was
even that good.
yeah,
The average player.
it was Verdugo, Wong,
Jeter
and Jeter
Downs.
Downs.
Yeah, and Brusdar Graterol was supposed to go there and ended up being routed to the Dodgers somehow.
Yeah, that was
That was the best player in the deal, Brusdar Graterol, and
yeah,
he went to
literally
the
was. He went to
Dodgers.
the Dodgers.
Yeah, that was just a bad trade. But yeah, I'd say the Phillies and Red Sox are probably the two best spots for him. There's lots of teams that could use him though, which I
Yes.
think is a positive for him. Like there's lots of teams that I don't think there's a single team in baseball that would say no, we don't want you, JT Realmuto. Maybe not at his price, but like even like there's a lot of teams that need a decent backup catcher or a tandem that has some sort of offensive upside.
That's exactly where I was gonna go next is, you know, he is 35, the health is always gonna be an issue with,
Yep.
in a catcher at that age.
Yep.
I think it comes down to like an ego thing is like, does he still think he's able to produce
Mm-hmm.
in a starting catching role,
Mm-hmm.
or does he take less money to be a really good backup catcher?
I think your thought can be if you're signing JT Realmuto, if we're only catching him for 100 games or 95 games instead of 110 or 120, take some of the stress off the legs. We can bring some of that offensive upside back. And then come playoff time, you can ride your guy, kind of like in hockey where they do like a 1A, 1B thing with their goalies. He's your 1A, and then you have a guy like Reese McGuire or whatever as your 1B, just for a random name. And then come playoff time, whichever guy's hot, you just ride that hot hand.
First off, I gotta say Reese McGuire is a crazy pull.
I don't know why he's the first person that came to my mind. Maybe I do know, but
Crazy pull.
I don't know. He's just the first guy that came to my mind when I thought catcher that doesn't suck, but it is pretty acquirable. I don't know why. It's just let's move on. Let's move on. I
Random
don't
name.
want to talk about Reese McGuire anymore. Let's move on.
Next, we're going to talk about another interesting guy with a very interesting market is Luis Arias. Doesn't give you anything on the bases, doesn't give you anything defensively, no power,
Yep.
s- down year contact wise, but
Mm-hmm.
we all know what he's capable of doing.
Yep. I like the idea of Luis Arias. I think more than I actually like Luis Arias in practice. I think he's almost like taken in the I am the best at making contact in the league and made that his thing to an extent where because he's still a solid hitter. Like there is some sort
Yes,
of
he
value in
is.
him. He's not a totally net negative, but it's to the point where he swings so often at pitches outside of the zone, but he hits them,
He hits
which
them.
is actually a bad thing. Like his O contact percentage was at the highest of his career, 93%. Usually he's around 89%. That's actually a bad thing. Usually, I look at that and I'm like, hey, that's good, but it's very often that he'll swing at a pitch way out of the zone and just roll it over to the pitcher. And that's not a good thing, as much as some people might want to tell you that it is. Just like, oh, look how low his K rate is. It's great and all, but
He's
he's the king of
grounding
weak
out weakly
contacts,
to the infielders.
right?
Like I
So
want to see. I heard this was a crazy fit, but him in Colorado,
oh, that would be fun. That would be fun.
him in Colorado is just spraying the ball everywhere. I
That
mean,
would
he's
be
not going to
fun.
hit any home runs there.
No,
Like
no, but
he had 8 last year. It's probably going to go down to like
yeah,
2, 3.
yeah. But
But
for Arias, he just needs to, he almost needs to get worse at making contact because I actually think he makes too much contact. Like, there's nobody who's ever made this much contact in recent years. This year, he made contact on 96% of his swings. 95.9 to be exact. That's up like almost 3% from his career norm of 93.6%. It's
yeah,
actually a curse for him at this point because every time he swings, it's going in play, and it's at the point where it's actually hurting him. If he could make less contact, which sounds
it's
so
a
weird.
crazy thing to say.
It's a crazy thing
Yeah.
to say. This is easily the first time I've ever said that about any player in the history of baseball. If he could make less contact, he would be more valuable because he would get more pitches he can drive. His average exit velocity and xWOBA has plummeted, and it's simply just because he makes so much contact out of the zone. Versus in 2023, just say he was still making all this contact, but he was getting it, he was squaring it up and hitting better balls to hit because his raw power isn't good, but it's not absolutely horrible to the fact that if he just gets pitches in the zone, he can still drive them.
Yeah, and like watching his at bats, it's like, oh, auto take first pitch, swings at a ball in the dirt, and then rolls over to second base.
Exactly, right? And
It's
people
like,
want to tell you that's good, but it's not.
yeah, like that's not a competitive at bat at all.
And I almost think if he had any type of defensive value, he could actually be usable. But the one thing that is very interesting with Luis Arias is his best years have higher K rates. So like when we look at his two worst years outside of 2021, which was his first full season, are have been the last 2 years, and his K rates were 4.3 and 3.1 in those years. His career K rate is 6.1. It was 7.1 in that great Minnesota year, and then 5.5 the next year. It's almost like he gets so focused on making contact because he knows he can, and he wants that to be his thing that he's taken away from actual quality contact. But he
Yeah.
could still fit a team. He could help a team.
Yes, that's the problem is that it's what do you value more? Do you value a guy that, puts the ball in play,
Mhm.
but has the possibility to give you really bad at bats
Mhm.
and give you nothing on the defensive end?
Yeah.
Or do you see it as, oh yeah, we just need a guy that puts bat on ball?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates are the team that I want to put him on. They suck. They have to get some sort of
Something.
Luis Arias at the minimum is a league average hitter, which isn't great if he's giving no defensive value and base running value, but it is for the Pirates who are projected for what, maybe one or two. Like their DH situation, I'm looking at their WAR right now, is projected for zero WAR. They're projected to get no WAR from the DH position. They're projected zero point zero from Andy Rodriguez, who's going to do the majority of the DH according to this, zero point 0.2 from Brian Rodriguez, zero point 0.1 from negative zero point 0.1 from Rafael Flores, and negative zero point 0.1 from I'm not going to try to say his name, but the password.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot
John
you even got
John
trade.
Stickson, something
I,
like that. Garcia,
whatever
however you say his
Garcia.
name. They're projected for negative WAR, and then also they have Marco Luciano down here, who's projected for negative 0.1 WAR.
Yeah, I forgot they picked him up off waivers. I
Right,
saw that and I
so
was like, oh,
it's
maybe he's
fun. I
gonna
don't
do
mind it.
something this
It's
year.
something, but they need an MLB level hitter that can do some DHing. And they have Horwitz at first, but he can do a little bit DHing, maybe play a couple of games at second. He's done that in the past. They just need to sign somebody who doesn't suck. And if he can find his 2023 or 2022 form, he can be flipped at the deadline if the Pirates still likely suck.
Yeah, and like you said, if he's a league average at best, 100 WRC plus, that's probably gonna be like
It's a big
top
time
5
upgrade
on
for
their
them.
team.
Like, exactly, right? Like, it probably better than that. Didn't they
Actually,
finish
yeah,
this year
you're
with
right.
nobody with the WRC plus above 100?
Brian Reynolds,
And I don't know if he had a WRC plus above 100.
Cruz.
Maybe Cruz.
Um,
I'll pull it up if we
yeah,
want to
pull it
keep
up.
talking quickly.
I'm
Um,
surprised because like the guys that come to mind, I know McCutcheon didn't. He might have
yeah,
came like close. He might have been
close,
like
but yeah.
90s. But yeah, if you put just a league average hitter, I think maybe IKF. I think IKF gave them a lit
So I
solid
just pulled it
production.
up. They had two people who had above average WRC pluses, and it was Spencer Horwitz, who only played 108 games, who had a
Really?
119 WRC plus. He actually had quite a good year, honestly. And Joey Bart, who only played 93 games. So they're only
Really?
qualified hitters. Yeah, that was it. Brian Reynolds had a 99, McCutcheon had a 95, Tommy Pham had a 94, and everybody else is below an 80, is an 85 or below. O'Neill Cruz only had an 86.
Whoa.
It is a bad, like it is a out it's not a bad offense, it's a horrible offense, and there's no depth and there's no star power. They just need somebody that doesn't suck. And when I put it qualified hitters, they had three qualified hitters: Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCutcheon, and Neil Cruz. None of them had a WRC plus above 100.
Yeah, Arise
Put
Pirates.
Luis Arias on the
Put him on the
Pirates.
Pirates.
Even if he's just average, currently their DH, the person who's projected to do the most DHing is Endy Rodriguez, who was actually a decent catching
Yeah,
prospect at one point, who had a 38 WRC plus last year and a 62 in AAA. And that's projected to be their starting DH. So
yeah.
let's put Luis Arias on this team, please.
Yuck.
Just do something. Just get an actual MLB level player and
Need
give
that. Need
have
that.
somebody who can be on base when Paul Skeens is pitching. Somebody for Spencer Horwitz to hit home
Oh yeah.
with
And
his loaded 119 WRC plus team high by not 18 points.
that's actually crazy how bad they are.
Right? Like just Horwitz and Joey Bart, who only played 93 games
And those
and
are
only had
not
100.
names that you would think about, like
No,
at
like
all.
if Horwitz was your number five hitter on your team, I'd say you're a good team. But when he's your number one by 18 points at WRC plus, you're doing something wrong. And the only other guy above average only played
Alarming.
93 games. Didn't even play 100 games.
Alarming.
Pretty bad.
Last guy we're gonna talk about here to round things out. Kaza. Oh my goodness, I almost messed it up. Okamoto.
Yes, Kazuma Okamoto.
Kazuma Okamoto.
um, Okamoto is so interesting because he has good blend of bat to ball skills and power, and he should be a serviceable third baseman or first base, like
First,
whichever corner you put him, he should be
yeah,
serviceable enough, even if it's not great. And having a blend of both, he had a 210 WRC plus in the MPB this
MPB.
year. Now he only played 29 games and it's the MPB, but he is a good mix of both. Doesn't strike out that often, so he doesn't carry the concerns that Murakami has.
Murakami. Yeah.
But the ceiling's nowhere close to Murakami. He has raw power. He'll hit home runs, but not to the level of sorry Murakami. But there's a lot of teams that I think he's a really good fit for. The Seattle Mariners. I know I've been trying to give the Seattle Mariners just about every corner outfielder in the world or corner infielder in the world, but that makes a lot of sense for me because it gives you some upside, and the Mariners just don't like spending that much money.
No, exactly. And I don't know, I think it's something about the guys coming over from Japan. They like to
Mhm.
stay,
West Coast, yeah,
relatively close to the West Coast.
yeah,
So
for sure.
teams like, I mean, could we see him go to San Francisco?
San Francisco, I wouldn't be against. They do need some first base. Who's projected to be their first baseman
I
next year?
think Devers was
Duh.
playing first base, but
He can do some more
he could
DHing.
more DH.
Like I
Um,
don't I don't mind that. Chapman can obviously Chapman's gonna play the majority of third base, but you can just flip those two between first base and DH. I don't mind that. I think he ends up playing his first couple years as third baseman because the market's a little desperate.
yes.
Um, I got to say the Angels. The they've signed Japanese players in the past. One guy who you may have heard of named Shohei Otani.
Yeah,
That's relatively
I heard
notable.
I've heard he's okay. Like
Yeah, he's all right. So they
nothing
have some
crazy.
sort of history. The Red Sox, if they strike on Alex Bregman, it could make sense for. I think the one thing about Akamoto is the fact that his floor is as high as it can be for an MVP player, but there's also some sort of upside, and he's not old, but he's also not young. Like he's in that mid age. There's a lot of teams that he could be a target for because he shouldn't cost that much, but he still gives you that upside of if everything works out, you've gotten yourself a higher level hitter than the rest of the market. Like he should get less than Gino Suarez.
Yeah.
And if I had to count on one of the guys being just a solid player, I would probably rather go Akamoto just because he's younger and doesn't strike out 35% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, when you compare him to a guy like Murakami, the age difference is probably the first thing you're looking at.
Yep.
And then it's the raw power
Hmm.
potential. But he could be a really solid, like you said, corners first and third. It's
Hmm.
like he has great basketball skills. Like
Yep.
he's not going to strike out at the
Yep.
alarming rate that
Way less
Murakami
risk.
strikes out. Yeah, I think you can probably throw him in on about any contending team that
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
a third base or first base spot open.
Yeah.
But I do like the Angels, um, just because they have that familiarity with
Hmm.
signing Japanese players.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like he would also want to
Like
come
to win.
to, yeah,
What do
a
you say? The
competitive
Angels aren't
team.
going to be competitive next year? What do you mean? They have Anthony Rendon coming back.
I love Mike Trout. That's about the only thing I love about the Angels.
Anthony Rendon's back, man. This is his year. This is Rendon's year, man. You
It's
don't understand.
it's about 6 years too late.
Yeah, there's so many teams. I like the Angels fit. Earlier on, I like the Mariners fit. I think that it still could be a good fit. Just about every team, because how many teams have a set third baseman and first baseman? Like you could say,
Very few.
right? You could say maybe the Jays, maybe the Rays, but that's really about it. Like just when I'm looking through, maybe the Royals probably not going to move on from Vinny P. But there's not many teams that had both corners set or couldn't even use a guy that's going to do some DHing.
Yeah,
So
that you could throw in a DH couple
yeah,
days.
he has so much value, and just the fact that he's high floor with ceiling. Like I obviously he doesn't have the same ceiling as Gino Suarez, but the ceiling's still high. While Gino Suarez is probably the most comparable guy, where Gino's you're no longer expecting good defense out of him, but you're expecting like at least like an average to above average bat. Akamoto fits that mold while being 5 years younger and having a higher floor because he doesn't strike out 35% of the time, as I said.
Yeah. And this is again another guy that I think was he posted at the same time as Murakami?
I think he has 3 days after. I could be
Or am
wrong.
I confusing him with Amai? Because I think they
Amai,
were
I think
they
was
were a
close
couple
too.
days close to each other.
So, so Akamoto was posted on November 20th, which
I think it's
means
a 45
yeah,
day
45 days.
window.
So January 4th
Okay,
is the
so
last day you can sign. So an
he
extra week or so, but
but
week and a
yeah,
half,
still this
almost
is
2 weeks.
again like I've heard nothing about these Japanese guys coming over.
Yeah. And
And
they're both exciting. Like and
yes,
am I
that's
too. Like
that's
they're
the problem.
exciting
I'm like,
guys.
is nobody else excited to sign these guys? Like,
I think teams are almost treating them like plan B, which doesn't
yeah,
feel fair, but I think they're behind, Alex Bregman and Bo Bichette, and even you can say Kyle Tucker, even though he's not an infielder. And they're like, hey, you know what? If we strike out all these guys, we'll go for one of these guys.
yeah,
But
it's a fallback option, but like
yeah,
these are still
good players.
like a 1B kind of
Like I'll say
players.
if I'm a team that's like a more mid-market team, I would be trying to jump the line on these guys right now. Like if I'm the Reds, I'd be like, dude, I can go out there and get Akamoto who can play some first base, do some DHing and play some third base, and I can probably get him for cheaper than all these other guys. I'd be jumping the line and going and trying to grab
Yeah,
one of these guys or Murakami.
like I've heard no offers, no sort of,
Yeah.
this guy's had an interview with this
Yeah.
team is
So
nothing.
weird. And it's like what, 5 more days for Murakami? And like
Yeah,
he isn't even not even like a blah 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 or close to a deal. Like it's just like
it's dude, it's
nothing
it's
radio
nothing, and
silence.
and like I want to see him play here.
Me too.
Somebody,
He
please.
better not do the Sagano thing where
No.
he like posts and then he's like, never mind,
Yeah,
right?
no,
He
I
wouldn't do that,
please, I
right? Just
I
go
I
get your
want to
money.
watch him. He was
Even if
so
he's bad.
exciting to watch in the WBC. I was like,
Oh my
this guy
god.
needs to be in the MLB.
Now, dude, I remember watching him hit that home run. I can't remember who it was against. Or no, the walk-off against was it Mexico?
Mexico.
Yeah. And being like, yo, Rogers, give him a blank check. I don't care.
Dude, it
Give
was.
them all the money, all the money.
Oh my, I
Slam on my
cannot
credit
wait
card on
for
the
to
table.
watch the WBC again because like
It's so good.
I
It's
was
just
in
so
front of the TV like watching that game
good.
against Mexico. I was like, no
It's
way.
crazy. I was a Jamaican Canadian watching that game. Like I was like between Japan and Mexico, like it was the World Game 7 of the World Series.
It
Like it was
literally it was
so electric.
electric.
Electric, man. And this year there should be some teams that are better. Like Canada should have a better team. And Dominican looks like it's gonna have more pitching, so they should be a better team. It's gonna be a fun WBC. And
Oh,
Japan's always the team to
it
beat.
it always is, and like it's a treat to have it every what is it, 3 years?
2 years? 2 years? 3 years? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a
whatever it
casual.
is.
I'm a casual. I'm a casual. I admit
Yeah,
it.
it's like the World Cup. I'm like, when was the last one? But whenever it happens, I'm like,
Every
I'm
4 years, but they changed it because of COVID. It was supposed to be in 2021 that got moved to 2023. So that's
oh,
why it's like it's 3 years for this one, but it's going
oh,
back to four after that.
well,
The next one will
I'm
be
not
2030.
complaining about quicker WBC.
Never will. I would do it every year.
Well, yeah, dude, like sit in front of the TV and I'm like, I'm just in awe because like
Dude.
you see guy from Slovenia striking out Shohei Ohtani. Like, when are
Dude,
you
oh
ever
my
gonna
God.
see that?
Yes, man. And like those games are fun. You get to see guys living their dreams, guys who aren't MLB players, but then you also get to see the best of the best. There's nothing better than WBC, and I'm not biased. Like when I'm watching the World Series, I'm always a little salty because my team's not there. But it's like in this, I know Canada's probably not going to win it. They might make a decent run, but I know they're not going to win it. I just get to watch fun
You
baseball
get to watch good competitive baseball.
with no strings attached.
Exactly.
It's great.
It's a great time. But I think that's the perfect way to send off because WBCs and the countdown begins. I've been
It
seeing them
begins.
them post and I'm like, I need it. I need it
Every time
now.
you go on Baseball Savant, it tells you 77
Yeah,
days till
dude. Oh,
WBC, 65 till spring training games.
I'm like itching. I'm like, I need it. I need it. I need it. But that's gonna close it out for today, AJ. I appreciate you for coming on. This was a long one, but it was a fun one. It
It's
always
what we
seems
do,
to
man.
be.
Thanks for having me, man. I
No
appreciate it.
problem. Thank you. So that's gonna conclude today's podcast, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that podcast with AJ. Um, we talked and yapped for a long time about free agents. A lot of opinions, a lot of, predictions that we had. It's always a blast talking with AJ because, he has far more baseball knowledge in depth than I do. So hearing another person's perspective on guys that I may like compared to some guys he may like, it's always fun to just go back and forth. But for all of you guys watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. Those that are listening to on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, don't forget to rate and review 5 stars. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And we gotta have AJ back on for a part two with the free agent pitchers. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.